Hello, and it's the finals of the Clutch Chess International Chess Tournament, and we'll be analyzing the sixth game played between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana. The first and second game was drawn, and the third game was won by Carlsen, and the fourth game by Caruana, and the fifth one was won by Carlsen. Now let's see what Caruana has in store for the sixth game. So playing with white, Fabi opens with e4 and c5 replies Carlsen. Knight to f3 and knight to c6 and bishop to b5. We are now seeing a continuation of the fourth game. We are now having a Sicilian defense Rosilemo attack on board, and e6 by Carlsen, and bishop takes the c6, knight b into c6, d3, queen to c7, and Fabi castles on the king side, and knight to e7. Carlsen further developing his pieces, and h4 by Fabi, and e5, h5, knight to g8, knight to h2, knight f6, and f4, bishop to e7. Carlsen also decides to castle. He's preparing to castle and further developing his pieces, and knight to c3, d6, making way for the c8 bishop, making more room for the c8 bishop, and h6. Here Fabi is trying to launch a strong attack on the king side, so g takes the h6 pawn and f5. Now rook to g8 and bishop takes the h6 pawn, and c4, king to h1 and bishop to a6. Now b3, and c takes the d3 pawn, c takes d3, c into d3, and d5, further developing his pieces, and e into d5. And here Carlsen decides to castle on the queen side, and now we have rook to c1 by Fabi, and knight takes the d5 pawn, and queen to f3 and bishop to a3, attacking the rook on c1. So here Fabi is not interested in so what Fabi plays here is knight to e4 instead of moving the rook on c1. He's not bothered of trading. So now Carlsen takes the rook on c1 and a rook into c1, and knight to b4, knight to c5, attacking the bishop on a6. And now Carlsen decides to take the pawn, bishop into d3, and now f6, bishop to b5, a4, attacking the bishop, and bishop to a6, knight to g4, now king to b8, and now knight to a6 check, knight into a6, and knight into e5. Now here Carlsen cannot play queen into e5 because king will be pinned. This will be a real threat. So what Carlsen plays here is queen to b7, and now knight into c6 check, king to a8, knight into d8 check, knight into d8. Carlsen loses his rook. Now rook into d8, now queen to e2, knight to b8. Carlsen goes on the defensive, and now bishop to f4, now queen to d5, rook to c7 and knight to d7, attacking the pawn. Now bishop to e3, and now knight takes the f6 pawn, and rook into a7 check, king to b8, now rook to e7, now rook to d7, and bishop f4 check, king to b7, now rook takes rook into d7 check, knight into d7, and now b4, knight to b6, attacking the pawn. Now queen to e7 check, and knight to d7, queen d6. Fabi wants to trade the queens, so here Carlsen decided to trade the queen into d6, and bishop into d6, king to c6, bishop to e7, knight to b6, again attacking the pawn. Now a5, counter attacking, knight to d5, attacking the bishop. Now bishop to f8, king to b5. Carlsen is trying to stop the pawn, the advancement of pawns. And now Fabi decides to bring the king into the game, king to h2 and f5. Carlsen here is also trying to promote the pawns. And now king to g3 and h5, bishop to c5, king to a6, king h4, attacking the pawn. And now knight to f4, supporting, and g3, attacking the knight, knight to e2, king to bishop to d6, and now king to b5. Now Fabi wins the h5 pawn, king into h5, and now knight to c3, and king g6, attacking the f5 pawn, and now knight to e4, attacking the bishop. Carlsen trying hard. Now bishop to f4. It was in this position on move 54 that Carlsen resigned the game, because Carlsen cannot stop Fabi's pawns on the queen side from advancing. So hope you all enjoyed. It was a wonderful game with Fabi leading. So now let's see how Fabi and Carlsen, let's see if Carlsen can bounce back in the next 6 games. So thank you, hope you all enjoy.